All right. We are live on
We are
Facebook.
live at 10:30 a.m.
Yep, Facebook, X, and our friends on YouTube today too. So,
That's beautiful. That's fantastic. Yeah. Hey, welcome everybody. We'll let some folks file in here. Be sure to share it with a friend, tag a friend. We think we may have a nasty situation here late week, huh?
yeah, it's been a rather tame hurricane season compared to what we thought that it might be because of the warm temperatures and the developing La Nina. But a couple of factors, smoke or not smoke, dust from the Saharan desert has kind of limited development so far this year. But the setup as we get into the middle to latter part of this week is one that has our attention in a pretty serious way as the storm works into the Gulf of Mexico as we go throughout this week. So I think it's one that could be probably maybe the most impactful one of the season, certainly to this point.
Yep.
I would say. Now, Barrel will probably was stronger than what this one will end up being, but it wasn't that strong as it approached the Gulf Coast. This one will be quite a bit stronger than Barrel, in our opinion, as it approaches Florida. And we're only, 3 days away from this, Michael. It's going to make landfall Thursday, and it's Monday, almost Monday at 11 o'clock already.
Yeah, that's my concern is that there's really not a huge that you're going to get a 3-day warning, a 2-day, really a 2-day probably warning window to prepare. And really, in my opinion, any storm like that's this strong. I mean, the only thing you really do is leave. You just get out. I don't really know, you know, what you can do to prepare other than leave. That would be my advice if you're in the path of this. Let's show them, Brett, right now, kind of some thoughts on where this thing might go and some of the reasoning behind it. And again, guys, for those of you watching, obviously there's a couple things. One, as the hurricane impacts the Florida coastline, all the people in the property there is obviously going to be impacted. And then you've got to think about all the millions of people that would be coming here for fall break. Okay, this may really put a damper in beaches and may really destroy things. You may want to consider a lot of things here. So let's take a look. Brett, show us what we got here.
Yeah, so this is by tomorrow evening. So this storm, by the way, guys, hasn't even formed yet. It's just a messy low pressure system, really, that is southeast of the Yucatan Peninsula right now. But it's as it approaches kind of that what was it, the Yucatan Strait or passage or
Yep,
whatever it is
Yucatan
between
Channel.
Cuba, Yucatan Channel.
Mhm.
As it approaches that, that's where it's really going to start to intensify. So this is this evening, still a pretty weak system at this point, but it's going to intensify overnight, likely into a tropical storm. And I wouldn't be shocked by the time we get into tomorrow night if this is already a Category 2 storm. You can see it intensifies rapidly. And it's not just this one model. We've got multiple different hurricane models forecasting rapid intensification of this storm as it kind of goes through this area here and into the Gulf of Mexico. And it continues to intensify as we work into Wednesday and Wednesday night. And then it approaches likely the Florida Panhandle or the Big Bend here in Florida. A very similar track to what Michael did. I think it was 6 years ago now in early October, a similar time frame as well, similar spot where it developed. And so, if these hurricane models are even close to being right, this is going to be an extremely dangerous hurricane as we work into Thursday morning and into Thursday afternoon as it approaches Florida.
Yeah, I think somewhere right now, Brett, the Apalachicola. I don't even know how to pronounce this.
Apalachicola, I think.
Apalachicola, Port St. Joe, um, kind of in the bend there, St. Mark's possibly. Um, that particular model right there would put landfall a little further east near Steinhatchee. That would be the closest, area of reference. But yeah, I mean, this again, seeing that kind of signal on basically all the hurricane models right
Mhm.
now. Really, and what's interesting is before there's even a tropical cyclone that's developed, there's a disturbance, but I would imagine as this thing develops and matures that these models will even get a better handle, obviously, on the whole entire situation. But
For sure.
um, yeah, there's the intensity models right now.
Yeah, so most of them here are a category, and they actually weakened a little bit. 6Z versus 0Z. The 0Z runs were even a little bit stronger than this, but you can see these two purple lines up here forecasting a category 4. Several others are kind of to this category 3 major hurricane landfall scenarios. Some of the global models are weaker. That's relatively common for them not to see the intensity very well. But I think the bigger deal here is that these hurricane models, these four up here, these are the 4 hurricane models, and they are all forecasting a category 3 or a category 4 storm. And I would argue that based off of this signal, Michael, that they have merit.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the tropical cyclone heat potential, and really, the storm right now is located at 82 west, 18 north, which is that basically that crosshair, Brett. If there's a mouse you can hover over down right there, that's where the storm is right now. It's moving due north at 14 miles per hour. Current projections from the weather models have it missing Cuba to the west, uh, has it missing Cancun to the east, going right through the Yucatan Channel there. Yep, there you go. There's basically every model in the world divides the two, which is that, quite frankly, is worst case scenario. There's just no land interaction, and it gets into the warmest waters in the Gulf of Mexico for about 36 hours. If you go back to the heat cyclone potential map, you can see, I mean, it's just right there. It's just actually kind of remarkable. But that is like basically just pouring gasoline onto a fire. I mean, to have that type of energy there's nothing that's been through here. And the other things, if you were to go through like a checklist of major hurricanes, all right, everything that you would need right now is being checked. There's no wind shear, there's no dry air. There's the upper level jet, the right entrance region is positioned in a perfect spot. The water's warm. There's no land interaction. There's a lot of things right now, unfortunately, supporting rapid intensification. And the last thing I'll add to that is most of these models, they don't do very well with the intensity forecast anyways. A lot of times they under forecast the intensity of these storms.
Mhm. Yeah, Michael. So what I have pulled up here, this is the upper level jet stream, which is very important for hurricanes for a couple of reasons. One, you want weak winds. You need weak winds because if you have really, really strong winds, it'll topple the storms over and they won't get organized. And number two, when you have a jet stream to the north or a jet streak, and you can see the reds and the dark reds here across Kentucky and Tennessee, typically in what we call the right entrance region or the southeast side of this jet streak, it allows for a lot of upward motion and typically a lot of intensification of these storms.
Mhm.
And so you also really don't have any kind of dry air. The browns would be indicating dry air, low humidity. And so you have extremely warm ocean waters, you have a very favorable jet setup, and you have a lot of moisture. Those three combined make it, in my opinion, worst case scenario in terms of this thing rapidly intensifying as we work over the next 72 hours or so.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, can you take that into motion a little bit, Brett? That map you have there.
Yeah, I can go back over here. Let's see.
Yeah, and the other thing too, guys, is there's virtually no wind shear either. There's really not a lot of wind impacting. Wind shear kind of can tear hurricanes apart and make them difficult to thrive in. Um, so I don't know. I mean, I don't see anything right now that would suggest that we're going to uh, be able to tear this thing apart. I
Yeah,
don't know. I
some of
mean,
some of the data tries to wrap in this dry air around, but I don't think it happens quick enough
until
until it
after
comes
landfall.
ashore.
Mhm. Yeah, I was
Um,
looking at,
let's see if
let's
we
see,
can.
where's that at? You got a wind shear map, Brett, you got one from Tropical?
Yeah, I can turn on the GFS here. Let me go to a different region.
Yeah, guys, if you're traveling down to Florida or going down second, third week of October, um, you know, you may want to consider this in terms of
There there's some wind shear to the north, but what happens
the jet
is
storm.
there's a lot right now. You can
Hmm.
see right now there's wind shear, but what happens is this upper level low starts to pivot south and it brings these darker reds and this wind shear further west. And so there's really, you can kind of see these greens and stuff showing up. There's really not a ton of wind shear the further north you go as the storm actually gets closer.
Hmm.
You can actually almost see it kind of start to break up a little bit. The colors, the greens and stuff start to show up a little bit more. I would say there's a westward, a westward limit to this because of this wind shear.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I'm glad you said that.
I think there's a bigger risk for it to trend east versus west based off what I see here.
Hmm. Yeah, and the hurricane models, the 12Z hurricane models, the furthest west member of the 12Z hurricane models is the HAFSB, and that furthest west is Port St. Joe. The furthest east is over there in that Steinhatchee.
Hmm.
So it's really right in the bend, right in the bend where it goes up there in the peninsula. That's where a lot of the 12Z hurricane models are going. Hour 72. So by Thursday, afternoon, it would be on the land here. Um, so
So, guys, if you've got friends and family down here, be sure to tag them and share this with them. I'm going to pull up our official hurricane map that we sent out to clients this morning. I know Jonathan Kipper just did a detailed forecast analysis on Clarity, a video there for folks that could be in the path of this. I also talked about it this morning on our long range update, and so this is something that you can get in our Clarity platform. And certainly concerned, what we have right now, we're on the more aggressive side of things because of all the dynamics that we mentioned before. I don't think the National Hurricane Center even has a forecast out for it yet, but given how intense this storm has the potential to be, I felt like it was pertinent to send this out to give people a heads up in the path.
uh-huh.
So, I think, Michael, and I think you also have to look at recent history too with these storms. Recent history suggests that storms in the eastern Gulf of Mexico tend to rapidly intensify as they get closer.
Hmm. Yep. I'm doing something real quick, Brett, just to try and help folks. Um, and I'm going to send you an image um, here in just a moment, so we can kind of see what these models are doing.
So, guys, if you're just now tuning in, I see some new people getting on here. Right now, our thought is a Category 4 storm. At the very least, a high-end Category 3, low-end Category 4 storm. Thursday at 5 p.m. will be the landfall time. Now, I do want to make a note. Because the storm hasn't even officially formed yet, when that circulation picks up, it could create some wobbles. And so we'll need to fine tune this as we get a little bit closer. It's why this cone of uncertainty, you can see the lines go all the way east towards Tampa. So anywhere from Pensacola to Tampa needs to be watching this very carefully. As Michael mentioned, you're probably more in this. I think it's Apalachicola kind of area, but until then, this
I
is
just
kind of what I
started
was
sharing my screen, which I really like our map, but I wanted to show people real quick if you can switch to mine.
Yep.
Um,
Let's see here.
the kind of the what every model in the world is doing with this right now. Just to give you an idea, that's kind of the ensemble means, the operationals, the members. You call that your spaghetti plot there, if you will. Um, I think the Hurricane Center here in about 15 minutes is going to start issuing their outlook. I think 11 a.m. they're putting an outlook out. So, yeah, I mean, that's the idea. And I'll tell you, the ones that go right of the main track here, the right of the ellipse, closer into near Tallahassee, those will be stronger forecasts. Those will be stronger hurricanes. Ones that go further west will be weaker because it runs into the shear, and it would weaken the storm a little bit. So the one thing, Brett, let's pull up. I'll tell you what, I'm going to pull up. I think it's important to talk about this. I'm going to pull up the European ensemble 500 millibar. And
there's an interesting, and I think we talked a little bit about it earlier. There's an interesting phenomenon that could happen with this storm that I have not seen before in the U.S. at least.
so here is kind of, that's the 60. You'll go to the 0Z run here. What we were talking about this morning is, you see where Helene would be. This would be Major Hurricane Helene as it develops. Look at this very interesting 500 millibar pattern setup. Ridge up to the north. Okay, you got your southeast ridge here. What we've done is we've cut off the main flow, and we've developed an upper level low, a cutoff low here. That right there is very interesting, because what happens is that trough essentially picks up Helene and just kind of keeps it there, if you will. You've got your, it's coming into a spot where it's going to steer it directly where the model has it going, which I think that's why there's such a high confidence right now in the track. But what's interesting is that's the ensemble. What we were looking at this morning is what this tries to do. And was that the GFS we were looking at, Brett?
I think they both do it.
They both do it. So
Yeah.
explain what we're seeing here in this particular instance.
So, one question I feel like we get often is, what would happen if two hurricanes collided? This isn't two hurricanes, but two closed off low pressure systems, one a hurricane, one an upper level low. As they interact, they actually start to circulate around each other. And so you can almost see Helene swing around the upper level low. Eventually, one low becomes more dominant. And because the tropical one loses the warm ocean water, the upper level low becomes more dominant. But that's what happens. It's called the Fujiwara effect. It's more common with West Pacific typhoons. Sometimes you see that out there, but you can almost see how they swing around each other. It almost creates a slingshot of Helene into the lower Ohio Valley. Probably some crazy rain for Tennessee and Arkansas and Missouri if that were to verify. And again, I think we had multiple different models indicating that as a potential as we go into later this week, would be kind of into Friday. So yeah, you can look at that rain in Arkansas there.
Yeah, that's 6 to 8 inches of rain. That's from the European. We can look at the GFS, latest GFS too, very similar. Regardless, both have heavy solutions here. Graphics courtesy of tropicaltidbits.com. These are maps anyone can access. Great content, great site there from Levi on all these hurricane models. You can watch all this stuff for free on his website there, tropicaltidbits.com. So, yeah, Brett, let's go one more time and go to someone says, unfortunately, no rain for Indiana. That is not correct. But let's go to our official forecast map. And
yep, here we go.
Show these folks what we're
zoom out. So again, we issued this 7:30 this morning, sent it out to clients this morning. And again, Jonathan Kipper just did a video. So again, if you've got friends and family down here, we will be updating on our Clarity app and our Clarity platform throughout this week, and an even more detailed analysis. And of course, some really cool tools on Clarity to be able to kind of track this particular storm. But, the next 24 plus hours, it's going to meander down here as a low pressure system or a tropical storm. And it's as we work into Tuesday night where this starts to rapidly intensify, and could be looking at a situation where we, intensify from a tropical storm to a Cat 3 in 24 hours. And there's multiple different weather models right now, hurricane models that support this. And that happens as it gets into that warmest ocean water.
Someone's asking what's likely that it'll hit Destin. I think Destin is on the far western envelope of this. I think Destin is, the odds of it hitting there are probably 25% or less right now. That's pretty far west, but it's not off the table.
It's not off the table.
I can't say that, Panama City to Destin doesn't get hit. I don't think it does, but can't say it won't for sure. I did share real quick on my screen, Brett. I shared the latest, rainfall projections just from a blend of models, just so everyone could kind of see you know, right now, 7-day rain numbers, what's it looking like? Well, that's what we see right now. These are going to change, probably go up if I had to guess. Just needs to get more data in as we get closer. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's really the analysis right now. Let's prep for potential major Hurricane Helene to hit the Florida Panhandle here Thursday evening or probably Thursday afternoon. We're going to have more as we get closer, but this I have a feeling is going to be one that we don't forget for a while, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
And I think, again, the best comparison in terms of a recent tropical system like this, in terms of where it develops, in terms of the ocean waters, was Hurricane Michael back in October of 2018.
yep,
Very similar track to this storm, very similar to where it developed. And I know Zander had actually done some research that when you get tropical systems to develop in this particular region and go into the Gulf of Mexico, there is a historical precedent for them to develop into major hurricanes.
yep.
So,
I see a lot of people asking about Jacksonville. This would not impact Jacksonville. You get rain, but it's not
mhm.
anywhere. That's not the focus right now. The focus is the Panhandle, right around the Apalachicola area. Did I say
Yeah,
that right?
we might be able to figure out how to say that before the end of the week.
I should probably go to the pronunciation thing and make sure I'm saying that correctly.
We
But
get in trouble on TikTok for doing that,
oh yeah,
you
oh
know.
yeah. The
Um,
grammar police are always out. They'll get you. Um, cool. Well, Brett, let's keep these folks posted, and we'll probably come back with another live, either maybe later today or tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning. Yep, we'll be keeping folks updated on Clarity too.